Hey guys, it's Saturday and you know what that means. Time to do some more work. So like I was telling you, my JL Wrangler is kind of a Swiss Army knife for me. I use it for everything. In addition to being a fun vehicle for the weekends, I also commute to work every day with it. And on the weekends, I end up getting into some heavy duty jobs. As you can see, I got several 100 pounds worth of retaining wall blocks and mulch and straw back here right now. So, on the weekends we get some work done, and during the week just mostly to and from work. But one thing I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to mention this again. I did a video on it last year when I first got the JL, and I wanted to talk about dealership oil changes. So the Wrangler JL has obviously two different engine options, and this one being the V6. It's kind of dirty under here right now, but that's what happens when you use these things every day. But for years and years and years, the V6 engines and the I6 engines that were in Wranglers took 6 quarts of oil, and even this particular engine in the previous generation, the JK, took 6 quarts of oil because it was a different engine. Even though it's still a 3.6 liter, this one is what they call the Pentastar upgrade. I think this engine first debuted around 2014. Might not be correct on that. It could have been 2016. I can't remember, but it was a few years ago when this engine first debuted, maybe in the Grand Cherokee, I think. But obviously this is the first year, well, it's 2019 now, but this is the second model year that this particular version of this engine has been in the Wrangler. And so what the dealerships don't know apparently is that this engine is different. Even though for decades they've put 6 quarts of oil in the Wranglers, now that's not the case. This engine has a smaller oil pan. It also has some other mechanical differences too, but for the sake of this video, what we want to talk about is the oil pan. It's smaller, and this one takes 5 quarts of oil. The reason I mention that is because I went to the dealership for my first oil change, last year, and they put 6 quarts of oil in it. Looks like they might have put 6.5 because it was way up on the stick. Let me pull this dipstick out. What I noticed was that on the dipstick, it was way up in like this range right here. Okay, it was way overfilled. And so I called them back and I told them about it, and they acted sort of clueless on that. They said the service manual calls for 6. So they didn't even have updated information yet. And I just chalked that up to the fact that the Wrangler JL was new, and maybe they didn't have updated information on it yet. No problem. But the second time I went back for an oil change, I specifically told them I want 5 quarts of oil. That's what the owner's manual calls for. And on my paperwork, it said that they put 5 quarts of oil in it. When I got home, I pulled the stick and checked it again, and it was way overfilled. So there was a communication breakdown between the service writer and the actual technician who did the oil change. Apparently they're not telling their technicians that these things are different now. And if you read through the forums, you'll see there's a lot of guys that have had this same problem. And apparently even now, 18 months later, these things are still getting overfilled at the dealership. So I just wanted to mention that, because if you take advantage of those free oil changes, anytime you get a new Wrangler JL, you're enrolled in that Jeep Wave program, so you get 4 synthetic oil changes for free. If you're somebody who takes advantage of the dealership oil changes, make sure that you pay attention to that and don't let them overfill your crankcase. You're not going to have any immediate damage, but it's not good to have an overfilled crankcase. So I just wanted to mention that to you guys, and hopefully you're not having those same issues at your dealership. Looks like it's going to get kind of busy out here today, and I got a lot of work to do, so I better get with it. You guys have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.